Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be needy, communication-hungry women. Well, I've got one email I want to go through with you today, and this guy brings up some really good points. And I got a quote that I wrote, and we'll go through that in a second, and we'll go through his email. But what's interesting is I had conversations with some people on Twitter earlier, and the conversation was about a recent shooting that actually happened involving the police, which you can see the video if you go to @CoachCoreyWayne on my Twitter. You can see it and you can see the discussion, and obviously everybody's jumping in and making all kinds of judgments about that. But the thing that I noticed is that this particular call was a domestic situation, and those typically for police officers tend to be the most dangerous because you're usually dealing with people that are irate and emotionally irrational. And you can see this guy is just absolutely not complying and has zero respect for the police. And when I see something like that, you could tell when he grew up, there was a lack of a really strong masculine father in the home that can keep this guy, or taught him how to be calm, cool, collected. And then obviously I was looking for an email to figure out what I want to talk about today. I happened to see this and I thought this is a perfect segue, because the reality is men and women both need a strong masculine father and a strong feminine mother figure. It doesn't necessarily have to be the parents, but they have to spend enough time in that kind of environment so they're balanced, so they can be calm when they're upset and talk things out instead of just totally flying off the handle and obviously getting angry, because you just can't work anything out with somebody that behaves that particular way. And so this particular guy in this the email that he sent me, he's doing really well. He's 43. After the COVID thing happened, he started doing a lot of online dating, and so he's got a lot of dating prospects. Well, in the past month or two, he's had 3 different women that basically rejected him, and he had a conversation with one of them. I think it was a 32-year-old he got in touch with, and he's like, what do you mean that I'm not contacting you? Because he's a busy guy. He's a very busy professional. He's got lots of hobbies, lots of interests, lots of things going on in his life, and he just doesn't have the time where he can be texting and talking to a girl all throughout the day, morning, noon, and night. And but it was interesting, the conversation he had with her, because she shared some things, and this brings up a really good point, because I'm all about having a drama-free zone, because you're going to do your best work and you're going to be your best self the more you can keep yourself in a peaceful and relaxed state. And the people that you choose to hang out with and the women that you choose to date are going to have a huge impact on that. And so in order to figure out which women are good kind of women that you want to be dating and have long-term relationships, and others that you don't want to be involved with, they're going to create drama, much like I said that I was talking about this particular shooting that just happened. I guess it happened over the weekend. And obviously there's other things that you can go into about training and police and things of that nature. But what you've got is you've got people that have no emotional self-control, and in that particular situation it can be deadly, especially if you're not going to comply with the police. But when it comes to relationships, if you just want to have an easy, drama-free life and not stress out, if you're choosing from a woman that comes from a toxic type of environment, this is just what she knows. This is what she expects. This is what she thinks about. This is the way she interacts with the world. And a lot of guys make the mistake of getting too emotionally involved with women that are just not good for them, because they're really hot, they're really attractive, there's lots of things they like about them, but if they're extremely difficult to get along with and you're looking for ease and delight in your life, it's not going to happen. You can't make good wine from bad grapes. So with that said, I'm going to read the quote and then we'll go into the email. And the quote says, "The best kind of women to date and the easiest to get along with tend to have a calming and kind demeanor. Women that are raised in homes with a strong masculine father and a feminine submissive mother produce the most balanced, healthy, and easygoing long-term dating prospects. Women who come from unbalanced or even toxic homes tend to be needy, irrational, create unnecessary drama, and can be extremely difficult to get along with. Find a woman who is super nice to you, confident, respectful, easygoing, and easy to get along with if you'd like to build a happy, healthy relationship and drama-free life. One of my dear friends, he and his wife, who I went to high school with, I talk about him from time to time. I remember that was probably about a year or two ago, we were hanging out actually down in South Beach at a restaurant, and his teenage daughter, the oldest one, was kind of being a pain in the ass and being difficult. And I remember he looked right at her and he just said, just in a calm tone, he's like, I don't want any drama. And she just kind of calmed down and relaxed, because his whole philosophy is, I want to have a good time. Sometimes he has a little too much of a good time, but he likes to have fun. He likes to laugh. He doesn't want to put up with bullshit. And his wife is very calm, and the reason why he married her is because she's always nice to him. And they're able to talk things out and work things out. And she grew up in a home where the father was the man in the house, and the mother was feminine and submissive and followed her husband's lead. And so therefore they produced a daughter who's pretty easygoing, easy to get along with, good mom, loyal, great teammate, has the attitude of, hey, let's work this out together. Let's figure out a way forward because we're a team. And they both have that philosophy because, you know, my buddy, he also came from a family where his parents were together. His mother since passed away and his father's remarried. But he had a pretty calm, even though he's kind of a hellion at times and liked to party and have a good time, and still does to this day, but he takes care of business. He does the things that he's supposed to do in life. And he's a good dad, he's a great friend, and he's always been nice to me over the 35 plus years that we've been friends and been in each other's lives. He's just a good dude, good solid guy, and so is his wife, and his kids are really good kids. They're good people, cool, fun to hang out with, and they're calm. They don't lose their shit, kind of like I was talking about, you know, in this shooting. You can tell a guy just, obviously if there's a domestic call and the police are coming, it's because people are losing their shit and they're not able to exercise emotional self-control because when they grew up, that's what they learned. And it's not your job to fix somebody or to save them or to solve their fucking problems. So let's go through the guy's email. He says, hi Corey, and thanks for taking the time to read this and respond to it if you're able. Well, good news, I'm able. First off, I've been following you for about 1.5 years now and have learned so much from your book and your videos. I've definitely gone from having little clue regarding my relationships to a much, much greater clue. I'm on my 4th read of your book and will keep going for many years to come as the lessons therein pay dividends beyond romantic relationships. Absolutely. If you got friends, toxic people in your life that are always showing up with a truckload of problems and expecting you to deal with it, and it gets old and it gets tiring after a while. You know, me, especially at 50, it's like, I don't want to put up with any bullshit. I like people that are easygoing, easy to get along with, calm, don't fly off the handle. Even when I was younger, I had a few friends when I was really young that would go out and they were hotheads and they wanted to get in fights all the time. It's like, I want to go out and have a good time. I'm not interested in getting into a fight because some dude bumped into my buddy. It's like, the other thing that I've obviously come to recognize coming from a military family. My dad was in Vietnam, my uncle was in Vietnam, both my grandfathers were in World War II. And obviously, a lot of the friends I've developed over the years, some of them are in law enforcement, some are retired special forces guys. And they're some of the most dangerous people in the world that you absolutely would not want to mess with because they could kill you in an instant. But they're some of the nicest, kindest people you will ever meet. And I love being around people like that because they want to avoid violence at all costs because they know all about it. And I like being around people that are like that are looking for a reason or an excuse to laugh and joke and have a good time. Like I have one of my friends, he had some guy that he cut off by accident. It was a total mistake, and the dude followed him into a parking lot, and the guy pulled in behind him and came up to his car and banged on his car, and he rolled the window down, and the guy was obviously really upset with him. And the way the laws are in the state of Florida, he totally had every right to draw his gun and shoot the guy, because now he's hit his vehicle. He's threatening him in a physical way. But in a very calm voice, he's like, "Hey man, I apologize for that. It's my bad. You want to grab a cup of coffee? You know, it seems like maybe you need to talk. I'm happy to hang out." And then the guy like totally calmed down. He's like, "No, it's okay, man." And then the guy left. That situation could have ended very differently for both of them. But because he chose to bring calmness and apologize, because he did cut the guy off, he could have been a dick about it, but he's like, "Hey man, I'm really sorry. It was my bad. I'm happy to buy you a cup of coffee." He's like, "Are you sure?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, it's okay. Have a good day." And the guy left. So you can choose how you show up. You can choose how you respond to things. You can choose to exercise emotional self-control, or you can choose to lose your shit. So he says, prior to the pandemic, I was meeting women the old school way and making quick connections, getting their numbers, and every single time that I asked, and setting up dates shortly thereafter. Exuding confidence and quickly getting to the point always worked, and it was a ton of fun. The thrill of the quick chase. However, once the pandemic hit, meeting women in real life became nearly impossible, so I finally turned to online dating 2 months ago, and let me just say it's like fishing in a barrel. With good pics and a to-the-point profile, I'm getting contacted by women nearly every day, and I have met so many of them, which has been really great. Despite social distancing measures, there have been so many women who are longing for a connection, and I've been more than willing to satisfy that need. So the other thing I've noticed about online dating versus just meeting women out in the real world is some of the women I wrote about in my first book, How to Be a 3% Man, which obviously you can read for free at understandingrelationships.com. All you gotta do is subscribe to the email newsletter. Is that the majority of them came from good families where there was a strong father, feminine, submissive mother. They were, for the most part, pretty easygoing, easy to get along with. And the only time with women that I've dated that are difficult or a pain in the ass, usually the father figure was missing. And it's just like you see the same pattern over and over. And, having done probably tens of thousands of these phone sessions over the last 15, 17 years that I've been doing this, you see the same patterns over and over. And a guy starts telling you about a girl he's dating, and one of the things I always ask is, well, tell me about her family. What's her relationship with her parents like? What's her relationship with her father like? And I don't think anytime a guy is with a difficult, toxic woman, there's always a missing father or a weak father or a father that just simply wasn't around. It's like you can kind of set your watch to it. I mean, it is what it is. And me personally, I want to have an easygoing, easy to get along with type of life. All the people that are close to me that are in my life, they're like that. I have no desire for it. Life's too fucking short. But I know other people, they like a little bit of a challenge. Like the guy I was telling you about, his girlfriend, she can be kind of a bitch, and she came from kind of a toxic household. But because he's calm and she respects him, he's nice to her. He makes fun of her, but he's not going to sit there and put up with her abuse. And then he leaves and he goes and does something else, and a little while later, she'll come and apologize for being a bitch. She'll come right out and say that because she knows she's being a bitch. And so he lets her vent and have her get her frustrations out, but he's not going to sit there and put up with it. He knows she'll calm down eventually, and then she'll apologize because she'll know that she's in the wrong. I personally wouldn't put up with that, but he's retired military, so he's a little bit of a masochist anyway. So, but that's him. Different strokes for different folks. So he says, so now to my issue. One thing I've struggled with so far with a few women I've been with is managing the whole frequency of communication piece. Oh, one other caveat about the women I wrote about in my book and my long-term relationships, not a single one of them did I meet online. I always met in person, and they would never, even to this day, they would never go and online date because they get plenty of attention from men in their lives. And so my personal experience is that you're going to get a lot more difficult women when you're doing online dating, and so you have to go through a lot more prospects, and you're going to spend more time texting, messaging, talking on the phone versus going and then meeting up with them, and then an even fewer amount of those that you meet up with are actually going to turn into good prospects. To me, I like meeting women in person. That's the way I prefer it. He says, in these cases, I, as usual and as learned, limited my texting to simply setting up dates and then not texting in between. But 3 of the women, only 3 so far out of about 30, dropped me and came out and said, very matter-of-factly, that it was because they wanted and needed more attention and were not satisfied with the frequency of my communications. So the thing to keep in mind is, it's like, they can call you, they can text you if they want to talk to you, because some women get pissed off. They have these unreasonable demands where they expect the guy to behave a certain way, and then when he doesn't behave a certain way, they get fucking pissed off. And on top of that, they don't communicate it. And so part of why you apply the things that are in my book, 3% Man, is because you're looking for a woman, just like I said in the quote, that's kind of calm, easygoing, easy to get along with, no drama. You know, just like my favorite mug here, no drama allowed. Oh, you can get these at Teespring. If you go to Teespring and look for Coach Corey Wayne, you'll find my little store there. It's also got a link underneath the video if you're watching this on YouTube or my website. But it's a good reminder. You know, I don't allow drama at all from anybody in my life. Friends, family, women I date, I just don't put up with it. And same thing with clients. If, you know, occasionally I'll start dealing with a client and they're an ass, and I'll put them in check really quick, because I'm not going to tell her. You know, I do this for a living. Yeah, I get paid a lot of money to do it, but I don't want to sit there and spend an hour of my life with talking to somebody that's going to be an abusive asshole. I'm just not going to put up with it. He says, I'm 43, and these women were aged 24, 32, and 40, respectively, so I don't think it was a generational thing. I also didn't really care because I'm in a state of abundance, as you have referenced that we're aiming for. And know that the next woman is less than 24 hours away from introducing herself to me, LOL. But it did make me curious to know what was up. Well, again, this is why you apply what's in the book. You only date once a week. You only text or call to set up dates. Now, if the women want to call or reach out in between, they're welcome to do that. But insecure, needy women don't react too well to that. They tend to get pissed off. Because you want a woman who's a net plus to your life, who adds value to your life. Not a chick that's bringing all kinds of drama and is just a pain in the ass, that'll get mad at you and cancel dates, or not call you back on purpose, or wait a day or two to call you back just because she's being passive aggressive. I don't want to deal with that. It's like, I don't have to. I mean, I wrote the best-selling book on the topic. It's like, why would I want to put up with that shit? No thanks. Why would I want to age myself? Why would I want to give myself any more gray hairs? It's going to happen naturally. No need to accelerate that process. So he says, so as an experiment, I decided to ask one of them, in this case the 32-year-old, if she'd be willing to have a chat with me by phone. She agreed, perhaps thinking it would be a ploy to win her back, and so I called her and went straight to the point of asking her why it was that she needed more communication. And the next 30 minutes proved really interesting. He's asking a good, high-quality question here. Because the quality of your life is in direct proportion to the quality of the questions that you consistently ask of yourself, obviously, and the people in your life. She went into detail about how she wants morning, afternoon, and evening check-ins, and that when she doesn't get that, she feels that the guys have lost interest, which in turn drives her interest level down immensely. Me personally, I'd be like, no thanks. You know, I'm not interested in that. It's like my life, I've always been busy. I'm in and out of meetings, and somebody that's expecting me to text morning, noon, and night all throughout the day, it's like I'd rather get together in the evening and catch up and share how my day was like, how her day was like. I usually date women that are successful and have careers, and they're they're not needy like this. They got plenty of strokes as a kid. And women who didn't get enough strokes as a kid, didn't get enough hugs, didn't have the dad there to believe in them, they might be, joke around about it, about how he's busy with the gym or he's busy with his appointments and not enough time for me. But it's always with a smile on her face, and she's always happy that she gets to spend time with him. In other words, she's not trying to be an ass, but she's communicating that, hey, she misses him, she cares about him. But she understands and respects the fact that he's busy and he's got shit to handle. And that when he has time, he's going to be able to devote 100% of his presence to her. Like for me, if we're on a date, I'm there. I'm not sitting there on my fucking phone or texting other people or taking phone calls or anything like that. If I'm there, I'm 100% present. I don't be bothered. And I don't want to hang out with people that if I invite them out to lunch or whatever, they're on the phone all the time texting. It's like I could just sit at home or go to lunch by myself than to hang out with somebody that's being that way. I told her that in my case, I'm a busy guy with a successful career, shared custody of a child, hobbies I'm passionate about, etc., and that spending all day texting just wasn't possible. So that's his world. That's his reality. And if you have a girl that you're dating that maybe has a job or doesn't have a job, and she's putting all these unreasonable demands on you, I personally wouldn't want to put up with it. Now, another guy might be cool with that. But me, no, I'm not going to deal with that. She wasn't buying that explanation whatsoever and said that she and her friends were all needy like that. So in other words, she doesn't buy the explanation. Why? Because obviously she doesn't trust men. On some level, she's thinking, all men are the same. So she's bringing her own biases, her own wounds from childhood, and is expecting you to jump through your butt so she doesn't feel insecure about herself. I personally wouldn't want to deal with that. Maybe some guys do, but thanks, but no thanks. Check, please. The conversation was really eye-opening, to say the least, and the only thing I could think of, the more we spoke, is that her attachment style was a very needy one, that despite her good looks, she was insecure, and that a guy like me, who couldn't be bothered with endless messaging, just wasn't pliable enough for her. True. I mean, at the end of the day, that's why you apply the things that are in the book, because women that are needy, and these are the type of women that you say you're out with your buddies and she's not going to believe what you were saying either. She's going to give you a hard time about it. Do you want a woman who comes home and jumps in your arms and is just happy to see you? Or a woman's like, where were you? Why didn't you call me back? I called 3 times today and you were in meetings. Why didn't your assistant interrupt you in the meetings? No thanks. I'm going to pass on that. He says, as such, Corey, I'd really love your insights on women like this. Quite frankly, I'd avoid them like the plague. As soon as I get a vibe or a hint of this, it's like, no, I'm not going to deal with that. I got too much of good history, too many good memories with good women. I've made good choices for the most part when it came to the women that I dated in my life. I only had one that I got serious with that created a lot of drama, and, she didn't have a father growing up. He died when she was 6. And I learned from that. You violate the principles and you're going to get fucking burned. And she was a difficult pain in the ass. She was grumpy. She was bitchy. She didn't have emotional self-control. She expected me to deal with her bitchiness. She was that way to her family, her son. I was like, I don't care how fucking hot you are and how all other men drool over you. It's like, I don't give a fuck. You can go on down the road. I don't need that in my life. It's harsh, but it's like I said, no drama allowed. He says, are these type of women that are just emotionally unstable and need to be avoided at all costs anyway? Or are they okay to date and just need a slightly modified approach to seal the deal with? Well, again, you want to know really quickly before you get too involved, because it's only going to get worse with time. The more serious you get with them, and the more their emotions get the best of them. In other words, as they start to fall in love with you, they're going to make more and more unreasonable demands, and then they're going to get really bitchy and difficult. It's like, it's your life, bro. You can do whatever you want. Me personally, it's like, they did you a favor. If you want to have drama-free, a drama-free life, drama-free relationships, let them go. They did you a favor. they disqualified themselves, and that's why you apply the things in my book. If you're looking for a long-term relationship, that's what you want. Maybe you can hook up with these girls a little bit, but I wouldn't want to deal with that shit. But again, it's your choice. You do what works for you. You do you, bro. I'm guessing it's the former, but anything you can share would be gold to me and all of your loyal followers. Cheers and continued success to you. Well, thanks for the good email and a good topic, actually. But like I said, I personally wouldn't want to deal with it. It's your life. You make your own choices. There's, plenty of stuff in the book that, I know some guys that come to me, they're already in relationships with women like this. Maybe they're even married. And they're trying to work things out. And so you got to set healthy boundaries and to hold these women accountable to it. And if they're misbehaving, you got to give them the gift of missing you. And in some cases, you might have to give them the permanent gift of missing you, because it's like, life's too short. Why would you want to put up with that? It's like, come home every night to a woman who's just gonna, is ready to take her frustrations and her childhood wounds out on you. It's like, why? I mean, there's 7.5 billion people on the planet. Half of them are women. You got unlimited choices. And there's, like I say, there's another bus every 15 minutes. Just keep circulating until you find somebody. A good woman is worth the wait. Even if it takes several years to find a really great one. Like I said many times, you get maybe 2, maybe 3 of those a decade is what I've found in my own personal experience. Because it's definitely better to be alone than in bad company. And so if you've got a situation you're involved in, kind of scratching your head, and I don't know about this girl, what should I do? Maybe I screwed up, and you want my unvarnished opinion and help, you can go to understandingrelationships.com, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book a coaching session with yours truly. And until next time, I will talk to you soon.